What's up, Dub Nation? That's my terrible E40 voice, as most of you know already. And I'm here to kind of just discuss what happened with the meltdown in Sacramento the other night. But mostly, there is more to that theme. And we're going to go through that right now. First of all, I don't agree with everybody throwing Steve under the bus, even himself. And we'll talk about that some more. But the whole Moody substitution thing, I just don't find that as egregious as being up four with the ball in your hands with 44 seconds to go and throwing the ball to the other team. So let's go through that real quick. Little quick 3-second clip here. Check this out. Monk comes out of nowhere and steals this. So credit to Monk. But you know what I noticed? Let's run through this. This one more time. Klay doesn't meet the ball. Of course, that's a duck, in NFL parlance. He throws the ball pick six. Actually, it's a pick three in the NBA because if we fast forward a little bit, Monk will make this beautiful sidestep move. I said it all last year that I felt Monk could be sixth man of the year. Now they're talking about it. But anyways, if you look at the transition defense, I wanted to also point out that there was a mistake by Looney. Right here, he should go to Herter. He should go directly to Herter. Now, maybe Fox finds Monk anyways, but then there's a little bit more time on the clock. I don't know, but Looney's going to suck all the way down in here to guard Sabonis when it's pretty clear to me that Draymond has pretty much these two guys. And again, I feel like that's the lack of reps together with Draymond being out for 5 straight games. So let's watch Looney go here, which leaves Herter wide open, which then leaves Monk open. But credit Monk, great sidestep three. Of course, then you had the Draymond turnover right after that. And there's the pass into the Warriors bench. He throws his hands up in disgust. Guess what? If we replay this one more time, it's actually Klay saying, "My bad." Did you see that? So I guess it was Klay's fault, but it comes down to reps. And I can't really blame Draymond for this in terms of this is his first game back. His reps with Klay, not that much since his, during this whole suspension. And so there you see Klay giving him a my bad and a nice positive, really high five. So number one on my list, and I even talked to Coach Nick, B-ball breakdown. We agree. The turnovers were the problem, not subbing out Moody for Wiggs. I mean, that was probably not the right thing to do. And I want to say that I think Steve feels more guilt on that because he gave Brandon Pajemski minutes for playing well. And here he didn't give Moody minutes for playing well. And I think he is regretful based on his principles being broken there rather than what actually was called for in the game, because I do think having Wiggs in to guard Fox is a logical decision. Now, who does Moody come in for? Well, it's certainly not Wiggs because he's going to guard Fox. So maybe it's Looney. Then Draymond covers Sabonis and Moody covers Vezenkov and we're good. So simple solution to that. And we're going to talk about this some more in terms of people throwing Steve left and right under the bus. And I think also that it's his demeanor. He doesn't really put up a front a la Popovich, a la Jason Kidd, shall we?
Last year, after you guys traded for Kyrie, the clutch situations were a struggle. And this year, you guys are among the best in the league in those situations. What have you seen the difference in the dynamic, specifically with Luka and Kyrie when you're closing games?
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. You've only got a minute response or so from Jason Kidd, so don't worry, this doesn't last the whole video. And that question by Tim McMahon of ESPN was not in most of the social media posts. So there you go. I just provided you something extra. So there you have the context. McMahon is saying, what do you make of Kyrie and Luka playing really well in clutch situations this year? The caveat being, last year you wrote about how they were not clutch, they did not make the playoffs, and you threw them under the bus. Here's Jason Kidd's response. We'll take a minute to listen to him.
I think maybe, Tim, maybe it's the things that you guys thought should have happened day one, is that they should be successful right off the bat. And it takes time. Failing is all right. It's not a bad thing to fail for a pro athlete, because you can get better and learn from it. And those two are the best in the world. And we feel very comfortable with those two having the ball. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. But we learn from it. And I think they've answered that question from day one. As you just mentioned, they're one of the best, if not the best, in clutch time. But that was a big thing you guys wanted to make a big deal about last year. But you're not making a big deal about it this year because shit's going good, right? So write some positive shit.
I just asked you a question.
And I'm giving you a fucking answer. Like, you guys, you know, there's all right to write positive stuff. People will read your positive. You don't always have to be negative, right? Like, it's just, the world's already negative enough, right? So let's see some positive stuff on some positive people that are playing, doing their job on a nightly basis.
Make it a lot easier to do that this year.
Well, we're only into this year. We can't go back to last year, right? Like, that's the fucking problem. Have a good night.
You know everything.
All right. Before we get to Moody, a couple last words on that. Number one, the 2 times he said the SHIT word, oops, I didn't bleep it out or didn't blank it out. There, I just, oops. And then the other times, you saw how I did that just for the monetization here on YouTube, the monetization. I can't pronounce that word anymore. But also the splicing, you saw how I spliced that. That's because the actual NBA press conference database cut it off right there before the TV broadcast, which somebody got, and I spliced it for you right there. So you saw that. So speaking of positivity, Steve's all about that. His culture, you go into Chase Center, you go to the practice facility, you can feel the positivity. Obviously, it's the opposite of that on social media. So I don't think Steve monitors social media at all. He has nobody really tapping him on the shoulder, beware of this, beware of that. They should have more of that. They should have more coaching where he can actually put up a front, act pissed off, but maybe he purposely doesn't want that. He wants people to see the softer side of him, the more honest side of him. And we'll get into that later on this video. But I just think people bully him online in terms of, oh, look at Steve, you know, oh, just his demeanor. He just doesn't put up a defensive front for anybody, including the media. He's very open with them. Of course, he expects none of them to write things that would throw him under the bus because of that. But I think that assumption may be faulty in this day and age. It may have worked when he worked at TNT, but these days, I don't think so. So I would like to see Steve become more Greg Popovich on the podium. That would be my first improvement of Steve Kerr, actually, to deal with all of you guys. Well, not you guys, Let's Go Warriors audience. I know you guys are more positive people, just like Moody right here. And I'm going to spend a minute and a half right here showing exactly how Moody looks at life and his own situation. This is on our channel. It was about a week ago.
Perspective. You know, there's a lot of guys on this team that could be playing more. It's got a lot of guys that, like, you just in this situation, there's positive in every situation. So me being able to value the 17 to 20 minutes I get, just being able to appreciate those and maximize those is something that I can learn from, and that's like a challenge that I can learn right now. Rather than if I could sit up here and be mad about my 15 minutes and then I get 30 minutes next year well, since I was in here pouting all year, now I'm not ready for those 30 minutes, and I don't know how to maximize 30 minutes. If you can't maximize 15 minutes, then this is going to be the same when you get 30. So just taking every obstacle and learn and seeing the lesson that's in front of you. Something I seen a while back that I really like was a fool looks for happiness in the distance, while a wise man grows it under his feet. So instead of just saying it's going to be better in the future, like, oh, it's bad right now, but it's going to be better. It's going to be better. You can always say that for the rest of your life. But a wise man is going to sit here, look at the situation that he's in, and make the best out of that. So that's something I try to live on.
Wow. Those are some great words. And I bet you didn't know that because you probably didn't play the Moody YouTube video. It was part of two other guys were on the podium. I think it was Steve and Jonathan Kaminga were on the podium there, and I had Moody at the last part of it. So I'm going to spend some time to put Moody on our Instagram, that little part. But other than that, these things get swept under the rug. It just kind of passes you by like the next subway train. Sometimes that happens. So this is a little note to me to now switch over to the SAC play-by-play, because really, guys, I think what no one's talking about is that we have the blueprint. We have the blueprint for that first half was incredible. First of all, let's go to the box score, and then we'll go to the play-by-play. No, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the comments of my live stream, because I put all of my game notes in there. So when you go here and you look at the
Show
comments,
your daughter how much you love.
You'll see all of these great things that actually happen in the first half. I mean, do I need to go through all these one by one? But what I will do is I will promise you that I will do a breakdown video of this. The reason why I did not was I really needed to take Wednesday. Today's Thursday. We have a game against the Clippers pretty much around the corner. Look at all these beautiful first half notes, and it reminds me of all the things we did great. And so the blueprint is there. I promise I'll do a breakdown of the entire first half, because all of these clips shows you how good we can be. And like I said in the last breakdown video, I had 33 clips of mistakes against the Spurs. I think I've got more than 33, good clips here of things that we did well. There's some mistakes in here. I always nitpick on those, but for the most part, pretty darn good first half. And that's the blueprint. Okay, guys. So I'll put the link in the description for that one if you want to go look at the notes. They will also be on our website, LetsGoWarriors.com. And let's move on with this particular video essay. And let's move on back to after where I left myself the note to switch to the play-by-play.
It seemed like
here is Steve Kerr talking about the blueprint. Give me another minute and a half. Let's listen to Steve.
one of the better halves you've played in the first half, at least offensively.
First half was great. That's who our team is, two-way team, getting stops, knocking down shots. Wiggs was great. Klay got off to a great start as well. And with the two big lineup with Draymond and Loon, that's what we have to have. That we have them out there for defense, and then we have to have our guards and Wiggs knock down shots. So that's our team. And then we come off the bench with Gary and Dario and Chris. The blueprint is there. And so I'm really excited about this team. I know it's a frustrating loss, and I'm sure all our fans are frustrated. We're frustrated, but we're gonna have a good team. We're gonna have a good season, but we got to get better.
Do you know?
And that's where Steve kind of just doesn't have the awareness that we know fans are frustrated. Steve, no, you don't have any idea the level of frustration. They want you fired again. They want Dunleavy fired. They're throwing you under the bus big time. So that's the blueprint. The problem with the blueprint as of today is, as you know, Chris Paul is out. It's day to day. Dr. Nirav Pandya, nice enough to comment and say that, well, it's pretty much day to day. Explained that a little bit. And then also Gary Payton, of course, he's got a torn right calf, and the doctor tells us that some degree of tearing, and it could be 4 to 6 weeks, my friends. Put this back in the middle. Next up, oh my goodness, Andrew Wiggins is out. He's got a right finger soreness. We'll find out more about that in pregame when Anthony Slater asks about it. And then finally, or this is not the final video that I'm going to comment on, but well, look, we're Dub Nation. I mean, you got to believe in this team, especially that blueprint of the first half. It was, I mean, do you think it's harder to replicate the first half versus fix Steph's turnover problem versus fix Draymond's repetitions problem with Klay? I do believe the first thing is probably easier to fix than anything, and that is to just keep doing the blueprint. And as far as the turnovers and the fouls, we'll work on those and we'll gradually improve. But you got to believe in the team, don't you? Klay believes in them. You want proof? Here's proof. Another minute and a half, or maybe it's a minute with Klay. Proof that he believes in the team.
Not get discouraged by a bad night tonight and realize we're going home with an opportunity to right the ship. I still have wholehearted belief in this team that we can do some special things, and I know we will.
And I didn't have my best game.
Okay, this one I want to just put up there for informational purposes. Steve went on 95.7 the game today. And if you want to stick with us, stick with us. But that's pretty much the end of my thesis, is believe in the team. We have the blueprint. No one's talking about that. To his credit, it was actually Ron Kroichik who asked Steve the question post-game about that first half. He was the only reporter that asked them about that. And I bet you 95.7 didn't even cover it, but I don't know. I can't say for sure, but they sure loved the fact that Steve regretted this. Now, I wanted to say that I didn't see it as an egregious miss substitution. Neither did Coach Nick of B-Ball Breakdown. And I have a feeling most coaches probably would have done the same thing. And so ask a friend, ask your AAU coach, what would he have done? You got to have Wiggs in there to cover Fox. So the extra step might have been, yeah, let's reward Moody. Sorry, Looney, but even though Looney had a good game too. So we're going to run this for the next minute and a half. Coach saying that he regrets it. He also regretted the challenge of the Steph Curry call. We're going to go through that as the final breakdown. So bear with me for another minute and a half.
Coach, and that was that's a tough loss.
Well, let's actually start there then. If you say that you didn't have your best game as a coach, what would you do differently?
Should have left Moses in the game. You know, Moses hits 3 threes and he's rolling, and we decided, we kind of overthought it. We wanted to get our best defensive group on the floor, but Moses was really good defensively, and watching the tape over again, it's like that was really a terrible decision, and I should have left him out there at least for a couple more minutes, and I think I regret that one. I regret the challenge. I did feel like at the time of the challenge, if we won, the game would have been over. I think Steph makes 3 free throws. It's an 8-point game. We win. And our guys who look at it felt strongly enough about it that we might get it overturned. But it was my last timeout. And I think both of those were poor decisions. And, both kept me up last night for sure.
Oh, come on, Steve. No, it did. I'm sure it did keep him up at night, because I, as a coach, have also felt that. It keeps you up at night. You replay the plays, but you got to learn how to move on, and you got to learn to live in the moment and to just accept defeat, forgive yourself, and think positively. Now, that play, by the way, why is nobody talking about, and that's really the theme of all these series. I think I'm just going to call them "No one's talking about ... But anyways, Monk does not give Steph the landing spot, so nobody looked at that. It's right in here. One more time. I'm going to pause it. There it is. He's right in the landing spot again. And so we end on that note. Those were some tough calls. The referees have all been pretty subpar this season, but that's not under our control. I said that on the live stream the other night. You focus on things that you can control, and you accept the fact that you're going to go into this game and there's going to be some terrible calls left and right for both teams. There's no conspiracy against the Warriors, although no one's also talking about how difficult a schedule that we've had. Our schedule is still among the top hardest, most difficult schedules so far. I'll probably throw that in the next video. Actually, someone on YouTube did do a video of that. So, guys, we'll be fine. And we've got the Clippers coming up, 2 straight games, but then we have 3 days off, and then we got Portland and OKC. I just think that the more you get Draymond back and playing with these guys, the better things will get. And that's really it. And how to move on from this very horrible, embarrassing loss. I mean, I don't know. Was it people, their friends are Sacramento Kings and they're getting bullied by the Kings fans after that game? Oh, look how embarrassing that was for you guys. I don't know why people are just so uptight about the method in which we lost the game, because really it was Steph had the ball in his hands, up 4 with 44 seconds to go, and then we lost the game. Now you can backtrack, but if you were to get a time machine to go back to one moment in time in that game, what would it be? I would think that the logical answer would be Steph has the ball, 44 seconds left, up 4, pass the ball to Draymond, or have Klay meet the ball, or just do something different. And then you go talking about all these other things, but that's the one thing I would change. And obviously nobody on social media wants to throw Steph under the bus. So just don't believe everything you see on social media one more time. And then also try to stay positive. If you bump into a media guy, tell him the right positive things, just like Jason Kidd said. And that's all I got for today. But that's how we do things here at Let's Go Warriors. So I hope that you will join us for tonight's live stream during the game. Appreciate you all. We'll see you soon. Just us 1, 2, 3.